Chapter 131 to 132. Rashi stared at the blue-haired woman in black garbs. Surprisingly, her attire had a hood that she decided not to use for whatever reason, since she was clearly here to fight him, if the slight chilling aura in the air was any indication. Rashi really couldn't understand. What he did understand, however, was his immediate need to get serious. The woman was standing there, as if she was completely uninterested in him, and yet, it was so obvious she was there for him. I can't read a damn thing from her body language. Rashi mentally screamed. That was bad. That was a skill only the most skilled learned. The girl in front of him was bad news. Was what the instincts that kept him alive for the past several decades and through 2 shinobi wars. Alas, becoming old as shinobi was something that made Rashi quite arrogant. Whose way do you think you are crossing, kid? He straightened up to add the additional inch to his already pitiful height and sneered. I survived the god of shinobi, Hiruzen Sarutobi. Do you really think some pathetic upstart like you can block my way? Begone, he said in a wizened old tone, but the bluinette in front of him, much to his dismay, only tilted her head without even a single twitch in her expression. That doesn't matter, Conan impassively stated. Yes, I can block your way. In fact, I just did. You stopped, and I am blocking it, she said in a "are you blind?" kind of even tone. As for what I want, would you be amenable to parting with some of Yanbi's chakra? I can promise it will be quick and painful, she stated, her expression still ice cold, but her piercing eyes staring straight through him. Rashi's face darkened. Quick and painful. Part with Yanbi's chakra? This bitch wants to kill me? Not gonna happen. He prepared for a battle. I hope this Awakagir's pathetic imitation of Konoha's monkey has half-brain to comply. I am still not sure I can draw the chakra painlessly with me being completely talentless at using seals, and the Jinchuriki chakra containment seal is quite complex. Conan depressingly thought. It would be so much easier if the man relented and let her draw the small amount of chakra. Neither noticed the misunderstanding between them growing. What do you need the chakra for anyway? Rashi tried to get a bit of information from his would-be assailant and Conan was impressed. So he can use brain. From what I saw of IWA ninjas, that's a very rare ability indeed. She mentally praised. We just want a sample. I doubt we have much of a use for it, but having it wouldn't hurt. At worst, we can leave it to rot in storage. She wants to drain Yanbi's chakra from me, to kill me, without even knowing what to use the chakra for. Rot in their storage. Call Rashi dramatic, but that kind of death. He couldn't accept it. The air became heavy. So this is just for some research subject not worth shit in your eyes? He snarled, making Conan hum as she thought about it for 10 seconds in complete silence. Pretty much. She answered at last. Arg. Fuck you. I won't die. Rashi had enough and charged at Conan. Who wants to kill you? Was the only thing Conan could think of before she had to engage in hand-to-hand combat, with obviously more experienced ninja in such discipline. The fight continued as the two exchanged blows, Conan keeping on the defensive. By now, she was very proficient in deflecting and parrying blows. Many broken bones during spars with Tsunade taught her exactly how to redirect the force of a much stronger punch or kick than what Rashi could currently dish out. From Rashi's point of view, he was winning and winning easily at that. Sure, he might not have landed even one proper hit, but the woman being pushed back without even a chance to retaliate. She was trying to get out of the deadlock of his furious punches with no luck. He was winning. All the while Conan was frowning. How the heck do I activate the chakra-draining seal? She pondered in frustration, failing to do so for the 20th time during their taijutsu fight. Why the heck was I sent to do this? Conan mentally angrily huffed. Rei had to know about how stupidly untalented she was with seals. There was no way she could use, much less create complex seals. The only kind of seal she knew and could do was simple storage 1 and various kinds of explosive seals, and that was quite enough in Conan's opinion. Unfortunately for Kana, this was one of these instances where Rei wanted to show her she needs to pull her weight and start learning more about seals. Her suffering was appreciated. It was all for the greater good of the sealing arts, after all. The fight continued, and no matter how it seemed that Rashi was winning, the mental pressure on him was raising when even after minutes he still couldn't land even a glancing, much less a solid hit on the petite woman, who was still looking at him utterly unimpressed without even breathing hard. Gah! I've had enough. Lava release, lava stream. Rashi spat out a river of lava right into Conan's face and jumped back onto a nearby tree as the ground disappeared under the searing orange liquid. He watched as Conan's body started sinking into the flowing lava. Her expression was still impassive, which impressed him a lot considering how much pain she must have been in. The top of her head finally disappeared under the lava and Rashi released a sigh of relief. Well, that was a nice warm-up. He grinned, but his grin fell almost instantly as the spot where Conan sunk suddenly erupted in a fiery explosion, and the bluinette just apathetically walked out of the slowly solidifying lava. What? How? Rashi exclaimed, not believing his lava couldn't hurt her. Not even her clothes were signed. Konan just rolled her eyes and fed more of her mix of water and earth chakra into her paper. Water chakra countering the fire attribute of lava, and her earth chakra overpowering Rashi's own. As if lava attacks could phase me after training May. She suddenly froze. On second thought, that's probably why Ray sent me against this man. His attacks are primarily lava-based. Food for thought later, perhaps. Konan relaxed and looked at Rashi. You are really unlucky, you know? No matter what kind of lava attack you use, I can just brush it off. She said in an apathetic tone with a hint of mocking pity, which made Rashi mad. He gritted his teeth and decided, getting into lava chakra mode might take a bit of my lifespan, but for this bitch, I am quite willing. Yanbi's chakra erupted around him, enwrapping him in dark orange bubbles mixed with a light orange aura as the temperature around him rose to searing heights. He was about to gloat, trying to unnerve his enemy when he froze, noticing a small and calm, barely present smile on his opponent's face. And then nothing. Konan deadpanned, looking at the idiot who actually went into Bijou chakra mode knowing there is somebody trying to get his chakra, meaning somebody knowing seals. Naturally, Ray would never send her against full Bijou. Not because he thought she couldn't take it, but because he would loathe to endanger her. Konan's first order was to get a seal that would knock her opponent out the second he tried using Bijou chakra in their fight. I see. Ray added something to his anti-Bijou seal. Konan slowly started giggling, watching as Rashi's body slowly morphed into a female. So this is the added function of providing a month of despairing doom he was talking about. She calmly nodded, her lips still twitching upwards as she kneeled next to the newly changed redhead. It took her about a half hour of trying until she finally managed to siphon Yanbi's chakra. Needless to say, by the time she was finished, Konan was utterly peeved and needed some much-deserved relief. I was told to leave a message. Konan's eyes gleefully glinted in a mischievous light that didn't spell anything good for poor Rashi. Poor lad, gal, gained a new tattoo right across her chest saying, Yuzora was here. For the following month, Rashi hid in a forest and refused to show his new feminine charm due to shame. To his complete delight, after a month he finally changed back into being male, but something stayed the same. For some reason, his female self was unlocked and Rashi felt weird, and Yuzora was still there. Until the end of his days, Rashi never went to public baths anymore. Tsunade stood with her arms crossed under her chest and her face hidden deep under the hood of her black cloak, staring at the slowly gathering ninjas of Hidden Waterfall Village. Sure, maybe challenging the entire village by her lonesome self via breaking the legs and arms of some arrogant sexist jonins did not give her the best first impressions, but she was a woman on a mission. Ray wanted her to show Takigakure. They are weak to protect Jinchuriki, were his words. Tsunade had no idea why exactly he cared enough, and not just ordered her to sneak in, break some skulls, take the chakra from the utterly defenseless newborn, who wouldn't even notice, and discreetly leave without leaving even a single trail, but she was not complaining, alright? She was missing a good fight, and one versus a minor village was as good of a fight as she could get since Konan's earth-hardened paper rain was simply too strong to overcome for her, and May was not yet on the level to give her a proper challenge. Oh, the woes of mine. Tsunade amusedly shook her head, astonished that such arrogant thoughts passed through it. When she was a teenager, she would have never thought she would end like this. A man she adored, a place she could call home, a family that always had her back whether emotionally or physically if needed, and tons of love, sex, and cozy welcoming feeling. It was really something dear to her, since she never felt like that growing up as one of the last members of the fabled Senju clan, something she would fight to the bitter end for. So, are you finally gathered? Tsunade asked the man in front of her, the supposed leader of the village, in a highly impatient tone while tapping her foot on the floor. She was waiting for a half hour already, damn it. No answer. The Taki ninjas were quiet and stared at her dumbly. Well, Tsunade awkwardly shuffled, maybe coming here to attack them, and then wait for them to gather their forces and evacuate the civilians right in the middle of the village center, might have come out as stupid. Yes, we are ready. Thank you for waiting. The Taki leader awkwardly nodded, not knowing how to feel about his current situation. Frankly, he could see his fellow ninjas were also utterly baffled and had no idea what exactly was going on. Were they attacked? If so, then why the fuck was their attacker just standing in front of them, waiting? Was this some kind of joke to the clearly feminine figure? Needless to say, anger sparkled in most Taki ninjas at the arrogance shown to them. Well then, what are you waiting for? Come at me, Tsunade loudly exclaimed, letting her hands fall from under her chest to freely hang alongside her body, and crouched slightly while spreading away her legs in a taijutsu stance. At her shout, all hell broke loose. The Taki ninjas leaped at her, kunais blazing, shurikens swishing through the air, only for the projectiles to be sent flying away alongside the first line of the Taki ninjas. Nevertheless, The army of Waterfall didn't get discouraged as the air started to become full of powerlessly sailing bodies of their comrades whenever a squad approached the invader. Tsunade stood her ground, not moving even an inch from her position, using her arms and hands to redirect every weapon, deflect every projectile, throw every exploding tag into the air, punch away every ninja who approached while doing it lightly enough to not kill anyone. Genins, Chunins, and Jonins alike rammed into her defenses, trying to engage her in hand-to-hand combat while overwhelming her with their numbers, only to despair when they noticed they were unable to make her take even one step back, as she still somewhat relaxedly stood in her initial place, blocking a punch, grabbing a wrist, throwing her opponent into the air, away from her. Using her elbow to hit a forearm of incoming punch to steer it away from her body, clench the collar of her opponent, and throw him into her another would-be assailant, causing both to be out of commission. Letting a kick land on her stomach, smirking at how her clearly Jonin-level opponent flinched as the bones in his leg rattled due to the impact, grabbing his ankle and using him as a club to bat away 3 other opponents before also throwing the half-unconscious man away. Tsunade was brutal and efficient. Her steel-like body, not even feeling the blows she allowed to land thanks to the mixture of Rei's technique of melding nature energy into the body and her own sage arts. Not that the barely noticeable black highlights around her eyes would be noticed to be as anything else than an eyeliner, even if she didn't wear the hood. Since she started using sage arts, Tsunade felt her body becoming nigh impenetrable. Except for Rei, of course, she daydreamed, grateful for the hood, hiding her blush and small nosebleed, as she distractedly baited away yet another Jonin, breaking a bit more of his bones than she initially wanted. Seeing the poor man, the Taki ninjas stopped their vain attempt at attacking her and retreated, creating a distance between them and Tsunade, who didn't move even an inch since the start. Seeing she is not interested in moving, the Taki leader gritted his teeth. He asked her for an nth time what she desired to achieve by doing this before the fight started, but she always only shrugged, saying she came here to play with them. "What the hell do you want?" he shouted agitatedly. This was his village, not some playground for bored monsters. "You want me gone?" Tsunade teasingly asked, leaning forward, which would normally show her cleavage, and make the man into a stuttering fool. A second later, she frowned when the Taki leader just nodded seriously, without even trailing his gaze towards her cleavage, before she slightly stiffened and suddenly felt an urge to facepalm. "I am clad in a full-body black cloak. Of course, seduction would not work. Stupid." Not that Tsunade ever received training in seduction, but as a kunoichi, she clearly learned a few tricks on how to make a man not pay attention. "If you want me gone so bad, want to make a bet?" Her love for gambling showed. The Taki leader frowned. What would be the stakes? He was aware there is no way out of this situation than indulging the kunoichi in front of them. "You throw everything you can on me for 5 minutes. Any jutsu or technique. As long as you can make me move even an inch from my place, you win and I leave. After I get the chakra of Nanabai, of course," Tsunade added in her mind. "But if I win and don't move, I want to see the child with Nanabai sealed inside of it." She quickly saw the reluctance of the Taki leader, and so she decided to force him to accept through his subordinates. "You know, until now I never went for a fatal hit. Not one of your subordinates is dead yet. I think it would really be in your best interest to comply with my bet," she shrewdly voiced out with a teasing tone that caused a shiver to run up the spine of every single Taki ninja present. Not long after that, the second round started. Technique after technique rained onto Tsunade in hundreds, and she decided to get at least mildly serious. Wind jutsus were blown away by the wind pressure of her punches. Fire jutsus were stifled by the violent winds generated by her punches before they could even approach her. Water jutsus were dispersed as the water was sent flying away, yet again by the pressurized winds of Tsunade's punches. Earth jutsus, an earthquake-causing stomp, was enough to snuff out any chakra in the ground that could potentially endanger her winning the bet. Honestly, 3 minutes in, and the Taki ninjas knew they were utterly outclassed when they saw the nonchalance of their enemy, punching the air and completely mitigating whatever jutsu they threw at her. At the last minute of the contest, the Taki ninjas just shook their heads in exasperation, knowing they lost. Ever so reluctantly, the Taki leader presented baby Fu, making Tsunade coo at the small girl, which caused the baby girl to giggle and prompted Tsunade to swoon even more. This in return made all the frustrated Taki ninjas lower their heads in shame when they saw Tsunade take a step forward to get a better look at the girl. Defeated by a baby not even a month old, they wanted to cry. Tsunade really liked the chocolate-skinned baby. She was cute, but that didn't stop her from discreetly activating the Bijou chakra draining seal hidden on the palm of her hand as she put it on the girl's stomach, tickling her. 5 seconds later, Tsunade had the sample for Rei without anyone noticing. I wonder how long it would take Conan to do this. I bet Paperbrain would have to rely on angering the Yanbi Jinchuriki in order to activate the knockout seal. Tsunade chuckled. She knew how Jinchuriki are normally treated, and since she quite liked the small baby girl, Tsunade turned towards the Taki ninjas. You will treat the girl right. I don't want to hear about any physical abuse. If you don't like her, don't bother with her. But you won't beat her up, nor will you stand still seeing she is physically abused. And God help you if I hear she was raped in this village, because, at that moment, the annihilation of Takigakure will be assured. Do I make myself clear? She threatened, releasing some of her killing intent that silenced any possible protest and made the Taki ninjas take a step back. Only now the fact that the woman was really a monster was hammered down. The killing intent was almost inhuman in their opinion. Tsunade worked hard to intertwine her killing intent with her Senjutsu chakra, making it even more terrific after all. The Taki ninjas only very reluctantly agreed to her demands, so Tsunade added something. If you really can't come to love and accept the girl when she is about to become a genin, I will come and take her away. My visit was more to show you how utterly outclassed you are, and how her presence could be a threat to the village, since you don't have the strength to protect her. And just like that, I made my plan to take the girl under my wing when she is a teenager acceptable. Tsunade grinned before silently disappearing. The only indication the Takigakure was ever invaded were the various marks of jutsu all around on the surrounding buildings. The Taki leader let out a relieved, stressed, and tired sigh before his eyes narrowed as he spotted something written in front of him, right on the spot the woman was standing during the fight. He actually had to take a step back to see it since the writing was quite big. After he read it, he blinked, then blinked again, and then let out an exasperated groan when he recognized the ground was marked by almost unremovable earth jutsu. The writing stated, Yuzora was here.